Alright, so for this sprint, which is sprint number 3, I was supposed to work on developing the decryption class. But however, as I mentioned in my previous sprint, I've it's I've actually fallen behind one entire sprint. So it's not a big deal because once I integrate the encryption testing or AWS into the application, um, it will be very easy to also integrate the decryption class. So so really the biggest issue here is integrating AWS into my NetBeans Java application. Um, but yeah, so that's what I'm going to be talking about in this sprint. I've worked on a lot of the code, but there hasn't been any UI improvements, as I will explain further in my video. Uh, but yeah, I worked on a lot of the code. I've gotten some of the AWS features and libraries installed. However, I'm still having some difficulties. Um, and I will begin with that actually. All right. So what actually happened in the past couple of weeks is that I was actually working on my laptop and it had crashed, but I was able to save my project online and I had a previous version uploaded, so I didn't really lose much of my data. I just had to restart with with basically what I have right now. So there wasn't any significant loss of time. However, I did lose a couple of days because of it. I had to get dependencies working again, and install the SDK all over again, which took a while, and I still have some issues running into there. But let's um, let's talk about the code that I have right now. All right, so in the encrypt file, which is basically going to be in my model, um, I'm having issues with it actually recognizing my dependencies. So as you can see here, um, a couple of dependencies, a couple of packages here have some errors, and I don't know why. However, if you see some other packages, they're completely free of errors. The JCE seems to be fine. The multi encryption package seems to be fine. And I just cannot figure out. So in theory, NetBeans is not very well equipped to work with AWS. AWS has one of its best functionalities built into Eclipse. Uh, so I'm actually seriously considering porting over my current application into Eclipse for the rest of the remainder of my application development cycle, because in this case I have to manually uh, download all of the SDKs, the encryption SDK as well as the AWS SDK. So as you can see here, I've manually added these libraries, the encryption library, the Java SDK library here, but there's still a lot of issues working with that. I cannot get the import statements to even show up. I have no idea why. In theory, this encrypt class is supposed to accept arguments such as the master key, as you can see here, the key ARN, which is provided to you, and the data itself. So in this encrypt class, in theory, it should print out an encryption ciphertext and also be able to decrypt that same ciphertext within the same program. This works perfectly in Eclipse. I've done this previously in Eclipse, but for some reason, trying to get this integrated into NetBeans is an absolute disaster, to say the least. I'm not sure what the issue here is, um, but yeah, pretty much stuck with what I have right now. But so let's do a run through of the code anyway. Um, as you can see, it's a basic class. It's supposed to print out in the console, not in the UI, because it's just a simple program for now. I want the import statements to work before I can progress and integrating that into the UI. Um, in my previous video, the UI is all set up. It's ready to go. All I have remaining to do is basically this step. All right, so let's just get started. So the key ARN, as I explained, is what's provided to every user when they create an account. This key ARN is encrypted already. It's your master key that is used for your encryption purposes, and it'll be used during. It's basically the master key for all of your further keys that you develop to integrate into your data, to encrypt your data. So you basically instantiate these methods. The AWS crypto is basically the algorithm in the packages that I instantiated, and it allows you to encrypt all of that data using the AWS crypto class. The KMS master key provider is basically generating this key ARN, and that class needs to be instantiated. So therefore, you can see uh, the consequent import statements that I have import. However, for some reason, they are not working. Um, I am also using the collections and mapping features of Java to create a hash map, or as and I believe in AWS they actually recommend using a singleton map, which I had to completely read up on about. Um, but yeah, that's basically what we have here. Um, this ciphertext is just providing the key ARN, the data itself, to get the result that is built into the crypto class, and it just prints it out simply. Um, the next part of the app, of the program, is using that encrypted string, the master key that you generated using this KMS master key provider, and then getting a decrypt result. Whoops. So basically, the crypto class also has the decrypt string available, and you can also provide. So I'm sorry, you can also you use that uh, key KMS master key provider, and then your ciphertext that you encrypted to decrypt. Um, and that's pretty much it. It's very basic. I should get the decrypted result. However, for some reason, I'm just reiterating that in NetBeans it does not work right now. I have this functionality. I've used this functionality in Eclipse and it works fine, but I'm still trying to figure this out. So um, that's the issue here. I also have the encrypt file, which again, same issue. But in this, as you can see here, the encryption import statement, I'm sorry, the Amazon AWS .util is something that works. However, Amazon AWS.encryption SDK does not work. They are supposed to be codependent. So in the Java, in the docs that I read for the AWS encryption, it says that Amazon AWS SDK is also required. So I have both of them installed. But for some reason they're both not working. But again, this follows this encrypt file follows pretty much the same process as the previous one. You just have to import the src file, source file, which you can have, which for now is an argument. I haven't imported that into my UI. Once I have all of these issues streamlined, I can then accept this from the UI, the file path. But yeah, it pretty much follows the same route. Um, as you can see, file input stream. I've just used the basic file input stream to get the file. It follows again the crypto class. There's an encryption stream, and pretty much this is it. I can also use that file, which is stored as the file name .encrypted on my local machine, and use that same to decrypt So again, crypto class has it. And another thing that I want to mention is that in encrypting a file, Amazon will only recommend AES, which is asymmetrical key generation and encryption. I cannot use symmetric keys for file encryption. So that's pretty much it that I have for this sprint. It's not much of an issue. I just have to figure out how to get my packages and my libraries working. Once I have that, which I should debug and pretty much have it by the end of next sprint, it's going to be very easy because I already have my import of my encryption functionality built in, and I also have my decryption functionality built in. So I have everything else built in, and that is basically I've worked on the decryption class. I worked on the AWS encryption class. However, I just have to get the packages working, and that's about it. All right, thank you. That's about it. Thanks. Thanks for listening.